Hello and welcome to the InsurTech Show. Now on today's episode, we're going to be looking at how Ohio is really embracing the InsurTech industry and spearheading innovation. And joining me here today, I have Michael from InsurTech Ohio itself. Michael, how are you doing? You good?
I'm doing good, Doug. Thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure, and thank you for showing us around Columbus. It's such an incredible city. I love it.
I appreciate that.
Now, Michael, could you give us, our viewers, a bit of a background to yourself? Could you tell us, first of all, your full name, your job role, and your organization?
So I'm Michael Fiedel, co-managing director of InsurTech Ohio. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, lived in New York City, and now am proud to be a Columbus native.
Absolutely amazing. Now, well, with that in mind, one thing that I think Ohio is really benefiting from is the fact that geographically, it's west of the East Coast. It's still got that East Coast time zone to operate with Europe, but you can now freely operate with the West Coast as well. To you, could you tell us a bit more about that and how we're starting to see America move inwards and still operate on the coast as well?
Well, I'm a bit biased, but I do think that Ohio is very much more the median, if you think about it from a population point of view.
Yeah.
We're really more the middle of the country.
Right.
We definitely have access to the East Coast, which is valuable. But I think part of the secret sauce is the fact that we've got three major cities very heavily involved in the insurance industry, have been for a long time: Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, both of which, Cleveland and Cincy, are only 2 hours away from Columbus. So it's very easy to network within the state. And then with organizations like the Department of Insurance, Jobs Ohio, some of the venture capital that has moved into Ohio, there's an extremely strong network beyond just the legacy insurance players that have been here for more than 100 years.
Wow. I mean, when you talk about that legacy, that does showcase that things are obviously working very well here. But to create that platform going forward, they need organizations like InsurTech Ohio. Can you tell our viewers a bit more about the work you do day to day to enshrine this industry is going to succeed?
Absolutely. So we see ourselves as an organization that seeks to help be a catalyst for interactions and relationships that may not have otherwise formed or have formed as quickly. So we have premier partners that are part of our organization. Some of these companies are in some ways competitive with one another.
Wow.
But we provide a safe space where they can learn from one another, interact in a comfortable, if not fun setting, and in some ways learn from each other, socialize and get to know one another, as well as meet other rising or legacy professionals who are working extremely hard in the insurance space and are very interested in talking about new ideas and, again, forming new relationships.
I think that's so critical. We've talking about platforms and ecosystems, but it's almost a community, isn't it?
Very much so. And that's the role we want to play. We want to be a catalyst for that community. We also want to amplify the good work that's coming out of Ohio. And again, with the three cities that have been a dominant player in the insurance industry and the companies that have been based there and are starting to grow, we feel very good about the impact that we're making on the broader insurance industry.
Fascinating. And if we could also continue this theme of community, we know that Jobs Ohio, completely from the government side of things, is also facilitating change as well as with you guys on the private side, right?
Yeah, well, I think a challenge for the insurance industry is finding new ways to execute and learn from transformational ideas.
Yeah.
There's, I think, a very unfair expectation or connotation that the insurance industry has been slow to move or apprehensive. It's a complicated industry.
Yeah. And
there's good reasons why. I mean, it's 100 years old. As far as data goes, it's data rich, but that data has been around a long time. Mm-hmm. So there's good reasons why the insurance industry is still trying to move as an industry forward. I think finding opportunities to experiment and activate on small wins to learn and improve is part of the critical transition as an industry overall. Ohio does an exceptional job of helping companies do that at various critical steps, especially for newer companies trying to grow, or for companies that are large but are looking to accelerate their ongoing growth, between the capital, the economic development, the government support. It's a tremendous ecosystem, let alone our organization really just trying to tap into that from both the social and content point of view. How can we just, again, be facilitators to help amplify what everyone is already trying to do to improve the success and hopefully help it, occur more rapidly?
Definitely. And I feel while insurance is, as you're saying, evolving a lot quicker than it used to, it's maybe 5 or 10 years behind where banking and fintech was. So what are the lessons that you've taken from where the fintech industry went, and how do you make that, and InsurTech Ohio, how do you absolutely make sure you guys are the best?
I appreciate that. It's a tough question to answer. Again, a lot of moving parts. I think it comes back to having opportunities to change strategy. A lot of wasted time and effort and money goes into attempting to digitize or transform old ideas.
Okay, right. That must be frustrating to spend, as you said, money, time, effort, only to realize a customer doesn't even want that product because it's for a product suite that would have existed 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. That's a fascinating way of thinking about it, because insurance is often considered a pull industry. You don't wake up and want to buy insurance on a Saturday morning. So do you start to see the InsurTech industry changing those narratives? And I'd like to get your perspective on that.
So it depends on the type of insurance.
Right, okay, yeah.
And in some instances, it's not always about speed, but it's about simplifying steps and decisions.
Sure.
Especially ones that often waste the time and effort of the smartest people in the industry.
Yeah.
There's a ton of manual effort that goes into building particularly the more complex types of insurance, the ones that are more expensive, the ones that protect businesses. Your home and your auto, it's an incredibly competitive landscape because of some of the simplicity versus other types of insurance. So I think a lot about that. And again, I do think that there's a unfair expectation that sometimes I at least think that there's an unfair expectation that the insurance industry should have moved faster than it has. I think it's actually moving fairly well. Yeah. The appetite, from my point of view, is exceptionally strong. I think our organization gets to sit in a sweet spot with young InsurTech companies that are starting to grow fairly rapidly, from 100 to 200 or more employees.
Wow.
And then we're also anchored by organizations that have thousands of employees, like Nationwide, that are obviously major players with a lot of moving parts. Across the board, there is a lot to learn from everyone's perspective.
Yeah. No, it's a group effort, it's an industry-wide effort, but it is also, as you said, it's a highly regulated industry. Mm-hmm. It can only move as fast as the customer protections allow. We don't want to go into what banking did, several decades. Now, this is probably going to be the hardest question of today's interview, but off the top of your head, what are some InsurTechs coming out of InsurTech Ohio that really excite you?
I would say we're really excited to see the work that Branch Insurance is doing. They're headed by two co-founders that are extremely passionate about not only building a great company, but delivering an insurance product that their customers can trust. I really do think they set a tone for InsurTechs both in and outside of Ohio, and so credit to them. Pumped about some of the even newer companies that are developing in Ohio. Battleface, focused on travel and travel insurance, are built by two co-founders who aren't native to Ohio and actually moved themselves, their families, and their company to Ohio because of the capital and regulatory opportunities and impact that Ohio could bring to the table. I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, that says it all.
Yeah, it does. There's certainly other partners that we're working with that we're equally as excited about, but those are two that stand out.